Bienvenidos y bienvenidas. Welcome to the REFORMA Virtual Spanish Book Buzz Summer Series. My name is Patty Valdovinos, and I am a librarian in the Multilingual Collections Department for the Los Angeles Public Library. I am also the REFORMA Los Angeles Chapter President. This free event is open to librarians, educators, students, and professionals interested in serving Latino and Spanish-speaking communities. In our second session of the series, we have Lectorum, Cinco books, and HarperCollins Español, who will be featuring their new adult Spanish language titles.
Good morning or good afternoon, everyone, wherever you're at. My name is Asuncion Cora, and I'm a young adult librarian at the New York Public Library. I am also the president of the Northeast chapter of REFORMA. Our first presenters are Ingeborg Portales and Chastity Tiburcio from Lectorum Publications. Lectorum is a corporate member of REFORMA. For more information about their company and contact information, please visit reforma.org/bookbuzz, and remember to use our hashtag ReformaBookBuzz. Feel free to add your questions to the comment box during the presentation, and they will be answered at the end. And as a reminder, these presentations are being recorded for future viewing. Welcome, Ingeborg and Chastity.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, REFORMA, again for this amazing meeting. My name is Ingeborg Portales from Lectorum, and today we are going to present adults books. Of course, this is a selection of titles that we want to highlight it because we have more, but we have a specific time to present them. For nonfiction, first we have A Propósito de Nada, the autobiography of Woody Allen. Even though he has been, everybody knows who is Woody Allen and his movies, and he's a controversial person, but his book is doing amazing. It was released last May in Spain, and it has sold more than 90,000 copies. The publisher right now, they are preparing the 6th edition. It's doing amazing. It's a big book. It has 400 pages. I already finished to read the book, and I have to tell you that it's amazing. It's funny. He used the same humor and irony that he used in his movies. And yes, he wrote about the scandal. Also in nonfiction, we have biographies. The first biography about Carmen Laforet is the first biography about her. She's an important Spanish writer, and she has an amazing work about Spanish Civil War. This collection from R.B.A. Molino, Agatha Christie, Audrey Hepburn, Indira Gandhi, and Jane Goodall. They are beautiful book, a small book, a beautiful cover, and I was trying to find biographies about these women online and different publishers, and believe me, it's really hard to find biographies about them. Right now we have them in Spanish, and a beautiful edition, and an amazing price too.
Now for science and psychology, we have El Cerebro Autista. This book tells us about the autism brain. It was written by Temple Grandin, which is an autistic author. So that gives us a different perspective as to what can be experienced with autism. It is a very important issue because according to statistics, 1 out of every 59 children are diagnosed with autism. So it's very important to have.
Cookbooks, we have 3 books. The first one, most of you already know the book, La Cocina Cotidiana de Vero, our beloved Verónica Cervera, colleague from Penguin Random House. This is the second book. And in this book, Vero presented a relative new concept that is batch cooking. And I don't know if you like to cook every single day and spend a lot of time cooking, but it's not my case. And better present this concept that consists in cooking just one day, prepare like a multiple portion and separate them and storing and use for the rest of the week. You can cook for 1 or 2 or 3 days using just one ingredient, like the principal ingredient. This is amazing for me. The illustration of the recipe, the picture are beautiful too. And the second one, cocina vegetariana. Every day more people choose to be vegetarian. And all books about cocina vegetariana, always doing amazing. Y la cocina latina ligera. When we think about Latin cuisine, we always say like it's heavy, a lot of calorie, a lot of carbohydrates. But Johanna Clavel, and this is the importance about this book, she said that it's possible to cook cocina Latin American food light, using some recipes and some secrets to be it light.
Current Affairs and Politics, True Crime. This book, La Ley del Crimen, written by Mark Galeotti, is written by a British author specializing in Russian mafia, which has a large influence in the world. And also, it's very popular since now on Netflix, you see a lot of series about mafia. So it always comes to mind to know more about this. Health and beauty. This is a very important topic for all of us. First one, Astrología para tu bienestar, New Age, which is important to know because some people may think that the astrology affects our moods, our daily lives. So it gives us a little bit more of ideas how to work with those terms. Also, el Alzheimer y el colesterol, which are important topics nowadays, and because there are diseases that are increasing. These two books gives us an elemental guide to learn more about what these diseases have onto today and to how they become developed. Intolerancias alimentarias. This shows us the differences between allergy and intolerance nowadays. Belleza y cosmética natural is very important because it gives us some ideas as to what can be replaced as to the chemicals that are given to our bodies, to our faces. This gives us some ideas as to what can we use from organic and plants and natural things for our bodies and faces. And lastly, Salud Femenina, Guía Práctica de Salud Femenina, which gives us a guide from puberty to menopause. All of these 6 titles are very important for our libraries. Another selection of our highlights are these 5 titles, which are written by doctors, which is the very important part of these books, because we know that these are based on studies. The first one is Combatir las alergias, how to learn about our allergies and how to fight them. The second one, Libérate de tóxicos, which helps us understand how the environment, the carbon monoxide, and the environment can affect our body. The third one, Cuida tus cervicales, was very curious because when it arrived to our office, a lot of our employees wanted to have this book. We live working so much time sitting down that our spines and our backs and our necks, and we wanted to find out more about how to feel better about this. So it's very important. Come Bien y Juega Mejor is a book for parents, so we could learn what is the best food and meals for our children and young adults who play sports. Lastly, La Salud del Corazón is very important, as you may know, so we can learn about healthy heart.
For parenting and self-improvement, we have 3 books by Carl Honoré. I really love this author. He's a Canadian journalist, and I love his philosophy too, because it's about the slow movement. And these three books are about how to be effective and live better. The first one, under pressure, in a society that every single day put more pressure on every single person, even since like you are children. The second one, la lentitud como método, in a fast world, how to use your own time and slow movement in a fast society. And elogio de la experiencia, how to be effective and live better when we are older, or how to value better this wisdom from our elders. That is something that in our society is like every day taking less the wisdom, the experience of elder people, unfortunately. For self-improvement, we have this for title, Tu memoria, aprende cómo funciona y cómo preservarla, inteligencia asertiva, genera cambios y construye tu éxito, y mis emociones me dominan. The same to memory, assertive intelligence, and important change are important in our lives if we want to change our life. And emotion are related, all of them we succeed. The last one I want to highlight, the last one, because Alejandra Escalmatea is an important speaker that she's always doing like conference and presentation around the country, around the world. She's an important actor. Also, we have two books for adults, yes, for adult, sport and games. A lot of people love sport, but a lot of people like to or love to run marathon every day. It's like a good way to try to be healthy and do sport. And the other one, Curso Completo de Ajedrez. These books are for adults, but they can be also enjoyed by young people, used by young people. And
now we're going to jump into fiction, mystery and suspense. Both of these titles are authentic literature books. This author, Ana Elena Rivera, won the Torrester Ballester Award. Her name is Ana Elena Rivera, and the first one, Callan los Muertos, and the second, Un Asesino en tu Sombra. Both have the main character, Detective Gracia San Sebastian.
For thriller and historical fiction, we have this book from Phil Kerr. Need a lot of presentation. Bernie Gunther novels are like a museum about fascism and legacy of the Second World War. The first one, Metropolis, but the first one is in 1928, and the second one in 1936. And something really sad about that is that Kerr finished writing Metropolis just before he died, and then the book was immediately published after his death.
These three titles are also very interesting. Walter Mosley, Siete Casos. This author is African American, is one of the authors of American Greatest Crime Fiction books. George Pelecanos, El Hombre que Volvió a la Ciudad. This author is the author and producer of the series, well, the HBO series, The Wire and the Deuce. I know you may remember that. It's really important, and this gives us just an idea of how good this book can be. Ian Rankin, El Eco de Mentiras. We all know Ian Rankin, so many detective series. This one in particular is Inspector John Rivers. He has a couple of those from that series.
More thriller, we have two. The first one, Factor de Riesgo, Harlan Coben. He doesn't need presentation. He has a lot of work. All this is in the New York Edgar Award, like Harlan Coben, and she's like como the reference. She's the reference when you sing about American crime novel. You have to read Matt Gardner. More thriller, we have the three more, Callejones de Brooklyn, the Will Mediaris. Will Mediaris was a painter, and this is the first book. He decided to change the brushes and oil by the keyboard. The story is about a frustrated painter, and it's important because the story takes place in Brooklyn. The second one, Jim Thompson, doesn't need a lot of presentation too. American author, like when you sing about crime novel, he's an important writer from the 40s and the 50s. And finally, Miami Blues, the Charles Willeford, better known for his series Detective Hope Mosley, and also this movie a lot of years ago in 1990. Was adapted as movie as an American black comedy. It's in the movie industry.
Romance. Contemporary romance. This is authentic literature for both of these books.
Chastity.
Yes.
We have a comment that your voice is very low. Can you raise it up a little bit, please?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Después del Abismo, written by Laura G. Miranda. This authentic literature book is contemporary romance and is very, very beautiful. The second one, Alma Armenia, is written by Hagda Tachian, also Argentina, but she has Armenian roots. So it gives us a different perspective from that country as well. It is a beautiful book to look into. Give me 1 second, let me turn on the camera. It'll tell me that. Okay. All right.
Okay, this is our presentation, saying like with children and young adults. We have more books. We can send you all the information if you want more information about this book or the other book. Just please call us or write an email. My email is iportales@lectorum.com, and Chastity Tiburcio,
ctiburcio@lectorum.com. Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
do have
Thank
a
you for
couple
your
of
time.
minutes for questions, if anyone has any questions. Please put them in the chat.
Thank you, Adriana.
Adrián.
Oh, Adrián, perdón.
Righty. Does anyone have any question? Oh, go
So
ahead.
there's one, can any of the presenters recommend any recently published tenant rights books and citizenship books?
Tenant rights to citizens. We can definitely look into that. And if you give us an email, we'll definitely contact you and get that information.
I don't see any more questions, Asuncion. Thank you, Ingeborg and Chastity. Our second presenter is Jenny Lizarraga from Cinco Books. Cinco Books is a corporate member of Reforma. For more information about their company and contact information, please visit reforma.org/bookbuzz. And remember to use our hashtag ReformaBookBuzz. Feel free to add your questions to the comment box during the presentation, and they will be answered at the end. As a reminder, these presentations are being recorded for future viewing.
Welcome everyone to the Book Buzz Summer Series and welcome to Cinco Books. I am Jenny Lizárraga, founder of Cinco Books, and we are located in Miami. Today, I have a short but very special list of books for adults and young adults. Since we are specialized in culturally relevant books in Spanish, everything that you are about to see is authentic literature in Spanish. So no translations for you today, at least from me. Let's start. I'm gonna take you to Colombia. And for this, I'm gonna share my camera so you can see the book. El origen de las palabras is a book by Ricardo Soca, published in Colombia by Rey Naranjo, and is a dictionary of words, but from the etymologically meaning of each. So you're gonna find any kind of words in Spanish and the origin. If it came from another language or it was taken from another language. We love this book and highly recommend it for adult readers. My second recommendation, El Anticuario, is a book from Peru. Peysa is a publishing house in Peru and is actually one of the oldest ones. The author of El Anticuario is Gustavo Faverón Patriao. And the third edition for this book was reviewed by no one else but Mario Vargas Llosa. And it's a novel about crime and art. You're gonna find drama, violence, and interesting context about jails in Peru. The next recommendation is from Guatemala. Yo Migrante. Yo Migrante is published by The Book, and the author is Araceli Martinez. And more than a novel, this is a compilation of stories of more than 30 migrants from Guatemala who have crossed the border looking for a new beginning in the United States. So it's full of real life situations. The names have been changed to protect the identity of the people, authors of these stories. Highly recommended for adult readers as well. Then let's go back to Colombia with Balas por Encargo. This is a story written by Juan Miguel Álvarez. Juan Miguel Álvarez is a journalist in Colombia. He has been compiling information and stories from sicarios, hitmen in Colombia since the 80s to this day, and has been a long research of many years, and now is put in this beautiful edition by Rey Naranjo, as well from Colombia. I invite you to take a look at this book. You're gonna have all the information and the list with pricing and details about this list and more books that we carry after the presentation. You can also visit our website. And let me go to Mexico now with Al principio viajábamos solas. This is a story about immigration and friendship. women that were traveling alone, but eventually became friends, and all the vicisitudes and trouble and experiences they share in their journey from El Salvador to the United States. It's a short novel, is partially illustrated, recommended for young readers. The next recommendation from Mexico as well, by Ediciones Castillo, 3,934 kilómetros. That's the distance from El Salvador to Denver, Colorado. And the three protagonists in the story are traveling from El Salvador to Denver, Colorado. The three of them are very different, with very different backgrounds. However, they become friends in their journey. This book was awarded in 2019 by Premio Castillo. It's a novel recommended for young adults and adults. Now we're going to El Salvador with Máquinas Voladoras. Roxana Mendez is the author of this beautiful poetry. She was at the International Book Fair in Miami last year and was awarded the Fundación Cuatro Gatos 2019 award. This is her first poetry book, and it's just beautiful. Published by Valparaíso, which is a publishing house from Spain. However, they have a branch in El Salvador and other countries in Latin America, looking for talents like Roxana. This is a hardcover book, highly recommended for young readers and adults. And now I'm going to take you back to Mexico with Copo de Algodón. Copo de Algodón, by the author and poet María García Esperón, is a narrative about mythology and the Aztecs. Copo de Algodón is the daughter of El Señor de Tenochtitlan, and is the colonization from Mexico, in Mexico, told by a 10-year-old. This book in particular has been adopted by several school districts across the United States for the content and the powerful mirror that the story is. A mirror that shows different experiences, backgrounds that could be related to so many families, but in this case, it's pictured like in mythology, like in the past. And it is fiction, but it's fiction based in reality. And then we have from, ¿qué pasó? I'm sorry, something happened here in my, okay, we're good. Diccionario de Mitos de América, also by María García Esperón. This book is a compilation of mitos from the whole continent. With the names, María García Esperón is a specialist in mythology. She has written about Greek mythology, Asian mythology, and this time, this new release from 2019 is mythology from America. You can see video about this book in our YouTube channel, Cinco Books Official. I put it in the presentation, so after my presentation and after this event today, you're gonna be able to click, but I invite you as well to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe for more videos of authentic literature and storytelling in Spanish. Then I'm gonna take you across the ocean with my next recommendation. Dos moscas y un mosquito, by Rafael Ordóñez. Diego Pun Ediciones is one of the newest publishing houses that we are distributing, and we are so happy to share their art and editions. This is a book for young readers, for young adults, and it's comedy, insects, and the main topic is beauty and happiness from the perspective of mosquitoes and flies. Now, I have always from Diego Pune Ediciones, from Tenerife, Cuentos Africanos para Dormir el Miedo. Oral tradition from Africa. The author Ernesto Rodriguez Abad has made a wonderful job compiling myths and legends from different countries in Africa. So I encourage you to enjoy this book and share it with young adults, especially with young adults, but I think any adult will enjoy it as well. My next recommendation, Quibombo, by Ediciones El Naranjo in Mexico. The author, Monique Cepeda, and the illustrations by Renata Galindo. It's a book about family separation, bullying at school. It's a chapter book. Originally written in Spanish as well. It's not a hardcover book, but it has an excellent format that will allow durability. La Escuelita. La Escuelita is a book about the Argentinian dictatorship in the 70s. Alicia Partnoy, the author, is a survivor of the dictatorship. La Escuelita is the name of the place where she was kept captive during those years. Published by La Bohemia in Argentina, this is a book about courage, about history. Recommended for adults for the realness and crudeness in the narrative. Alicia Partnoy lives now in California, and she is a professor at the California State University. Now we are entering into the graphic novel territories. Off, by Xavier Salomón, published in Spain by Flamboyant. It's a book with no text, and it shows the horrific outcome after a nuclear explosion. It's inspired by the experiences of Xavier Salomón when he was 10 years old in the Chernobyl disaster. He remembers what happened when he was a kid, how he remembers that. And that's what he wanted to show in this book. Of highly recommended for young adults and adults. Manuelito. Now let's go back to Guatemala. Manuelito is a graphic novel by Guatemalan Elisa Amado and the illustrations by the Salvadoran Abraham Urias. This book is also available in English. The publisher, Anik Press from Canada, has made a wonderful job to portray the experience that many children have endured during the last 5 years or so, crossing the border without a parent or an adult. It's a social testimony. It's based on real events, but the name Manuelito, of course, is fiction to protect the identity of the the victim. And it's a book about asylum, human rights, and immigration. My next graphic novel, Gabo. Gabriel García Márquez, Memorias de una vida mágica. And 2 days ago, I showed you Gabito, which is the comic by Rey Naranjo in Colombia. The story of Gabriel García Márquez when he was a kid and he became a writer. So this is the story for adults and young adults of Gabriel García Márquez when he was an adult, a journalist, the time that he lived in Europe, and how he became the writer and journalist that he became, the winner of the Nobel Prize. Finally, my last recommendation for today is Rulfo, Una vida gráfica. The author of Pedro Páramo. Those of you who read Pedro Páramo know that the cruelness and the crude stories in Pedro Páramo are still alive today. And this is the story of Juan Rulfo, the creator of that masterpiece. Those have been my recommendations today. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen now, and if you have any questions, I am here for you.
Thank you so much, Jenny. There's a few comments and questions that we received. One was from Alan Bug from, I think that's San Diego Public Library, correct me if I'm wrong. And so he made a comment saying that he loves the books from all over the world, but he's noticed that some of the books aren't sustainable for high use settings. So is there a way that you can maybe make a list or I know you emphasized it a little bit in your talk about which ones were better for high use settings, but if you can go over that a little bit more, how to make it easier for librarians to know if it is for high setting use.
I'm sorry, for what?
For high use setting, like if it's going to be used a lot and checked out a lot, like what books do you recommend from your collection that have those? I know you talked a little bit about that.
Yes, well, we can give you a list after the presentation, and I think it's in my next, here, the information. If you need a list, we can provide an Excel with all the information. We also provide the basic information for the cataloging and processing in an Excel format, so that makes it easier. I know most of the books that we carry don't have a mark record because are from independent publishers or small presses that have not been here before, and in many occasions we are the first ones carrying these books. So we try to provide as much information as we can to make the processing and mark records easier. I don't know if that answered the question.
Yeah, and so in one of the descriptions, you can say if the if it's hardcover, right, or if it's paperback.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I just didn't add it in the PowerPoint, but in the information that we share with Excel, it is in there. Is the basic, is part of the basic and the vital information that we share with.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. And then Darren Nelson also made a comment. You have a lot of wonderful titles, but they aren't available in Baker and Taylor. So he shared his enthusiasm to tell you that it would be wonderful if they carried more of them. And then, yeah, they're all thank yous for you, Jenny. And if there's any more questions, please let us know. Everyone is very enthusiastic about your titles.
Thank you, I appreciate, and I encourage you guys to follow us on social media. We are very active, and we are always sharing information about the titles, things going on in the publishing industry in Latin America and Spain, and also here in the United States. Follow us, also subscribe to our YouTube channel for storytelling in Spanish.
Thank you, Jenny. So our final presenter is Edward Benitez from HarperCollins Español. For more information about their company and contact information, please visit reforma.org/bookbuzz. And remember to use our hashtag REFORMABookBuzz. Feel free to add your questions to the comment box during the presentation and they will be answered at the end. And as a reminder, these presentations are being recorded for future use. Welcome, Edward.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me okay? I hope so. Thank you again. So I'm Edward Benitez. I'm the executive editor for HarperCollins Español based in New York. And just really quick, I want to thank everybody for coming on board to listen to all the presentations, and in particular the REFORMA people for putting all this together. It's wonderful and it's great to have such strong support from not only from the publishers, but also from the librarians everywhere for Libros en Español. So before we get started, I just wanted to highlight a few of the titles that have just come out within the past 6 months, books that are really important that I just want to touch on very quickly. El Libro de Rosie, the Book of Rosie, has received all kinds of accolades, not only from Publishers Weekly, but from Kirkus Review. The story of a woman with her children crossing from Guatemala, crossing Mexico into the United States through Texas, and is apprehended by ICE at the border, and how she miraculously was able to leave the encampment with the help of lawyers based in New York. So it's a wonderful, fantastic story. Una Chica Anónima by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen, absolute fantastic thriller at its best. The book has been sold for movie adaptation. On top, we've got Mi Sombría Vanessa, My Dark Vanessa, which was in the New York Times bestseller in English a few months ago, and it's our Spanish language. It's all about the movement for empowerment of women, and it's a novel and it's fantastic. Cómo seguir siendo humano en un mundo jodido, by Tim Desmond, is exactly what the title says, How to Stay Human in an Effed Up World. Practical mindfulness in your daily life. Querida América by José Antonio Vargas, Notas de un Ciudadano Indocumentado, the story of a young man that finds out when he's a teenager that he is in the country illegally, and he did not know it. And it talks about not only about the legal ramifications of being illegal, but also how that affects your psyche, how you have to be the perfect child so that you do not bring any kind of attention. He didn't want to be too smart at school because that would bring attention, and that might damage and bring attention to his family and his situation. Amate como si tu vida dependiera de ello by Kamal Ravikant. Love yourself and how to, it's a guidebook on how to love yourself, how to respect yourself and be a better person. Las Tres Preguntas by, and that's my dog barking, by the way, so I apologize for that. Las Tres Preguntas by Don Miguel Ruiz, which is a New York Times bestseller. The author of the Cuatro Acuerdos, and finally Fever, story about typhoid Mary. And now I go into the new titles that are coming out. The first one is Rotos by Don Winslow. That goes on sale September 1st. And from the author of La Frontera comes 6 intense short novels connected by a theme of crime, corruption, vengeance, justice, loss, betrayal, guilt, and redemption. Broken is the #1 international bestseller by Don Winslow at his nerve-shattering, heart-stopping, heartbreaking best. This Broken is a gift, one bequeathed at just the right time. What we have here is basically 6 original novels, each of are read like a short story, yet contains the stimulating heft of a full-length novel. This collection is aimed boldly and squarely at 2 groups of readers: folks who have been with Winslow from the very beginning of his fiction writing career, and those who are unfamiliar with or only marginally aware of his work. There is plenty here for both, with stories that introduce characters and others that revisit old friends and enemies. Next, we have Yo Soy Esas Verdades by Sunny Hostin. Sunny Hostin is this book, by the way, is being simultaneously published both in English and in Spanish. So Sunny Hostin details her journey from St. Mary's Park Housing Project in the South Bronx to become an assistant U.S. attorney and journalist, speaking out on the urgent conversation that should be had around intolerance and injustice. In this debut book, she blends her compelling personal stories with reflections from the high-stake cases and stories she has worked on as a journalist and prosecutor. Born to a teenage parent, Sunny saw her uncle get stabbed in a tenement bathroom and her best friend's father murdered in front of a bodega. And of course, you may know Sunny Hostin. She is a member of The View. She is the most liberal member of The View, and her story will resonate with everyone. And here's just a little bit more about Sunny. She's been featured on, People Magazine, Forbes Magazine, Essence, New York Post, Latina Magazine, Ebony, and she was awarded with a Special Achievement Award by then Attorney General Janet Reno for her prosecution of child sexual predators and work with children with child sex abuse. Next, we have one of our favorite authors, Mario Escobar from Spain, La Bibliotecaria de Saint Malo. And this is from the Spanish best-selling author Mario Escobar. Comes a gripping, achingly beautiful novel about the letters between a librarian, Jocelyn Ferrec, and author Marcel Zola, depicting the romance between Jocelyn and her love, Antonio Ferrec. And you can see we have such a beautiful cover. We're very proud of it. Mario Escobar Recuérdame, which was published this past fall, was the inaugural selection for People in Español Book Corner in October 2019. And Mario Escobar is a best-selling author in Spain and throughout Latin America, and has published over 50 books. And the greater comparison that I could come up with for this book is All the Light We Cannot See. And Mario Escobar is an expert at taking a little-known historical fact and creating a magnificent, deeply moving novel. And next we have La Mujer de Rojo by Diana Giovinazzo, The Woman in Red. And this is being published by Hachette in English. And this is, it's a story of Anita Garibaldi. And she is a force to be reckoned with, forced into a marriage. And she is a true, this is a fictional account of her life, but she is a real person. And she was forced into a marriage at a young age. She felt trapped in a union she did not want. But when she meets the leader of the Brazilian resistance, Giuseppe Garibaldi, in 1839, everything changes. She is swept into a passionate affair with the idolized mercenary, and Anita's life is suddenly consumed by the plight to liberate southern Brazil from Portugal, a struggle that would cost thousands of lives and span almost 10 bloody years. Little did she know that this first taste of revolution would lead her to cross oceans, traverse continents, and alter the course of her entire life and the world. At once an exhilarating adventure and an unforgettable love story, La Mujer de Rojo is a sweeping, illuminating tale of the feminist icon who became one of the most revered figures in South America and Italy. Now for something a little bit different, Clean 7 by Dr. Alejandro Juncker. Dr. Juncker is Argentinian, and basically if you're looking for a good detox program, Clean 7 is the one you want to try. It doesn't just focus on weight loss and detox. It's a program that truly, it focuses on your mind, your body, and your spirit. It has insightful information on clean eating and opens a path for those who want to change their lives and themselves through what they consume or put in their body. And this book has been a mega bestseller in English, selling hundreds of thousands of copies in English. Next, we have what I consider my favorite book on the list, La Latina con Baja Autoestima by Rosie Mercado. And Rosie Mercado is what is considered a plus-size supermodel. And she is a Latina superstar that shares the impossible true story of her fight to realize her dreams in a powerful memoir and inspirational guide filled with hard-earned, heartfelt advice for all women striving for independence. And let me just give you a quick idea of who Rosie is. At 19, she was married, and her husband and father of her first child left her with no warning. Rosie was distraught. She had no college degree, no career, and an addiction to carbs and sugar and emotional eating, and a newborn to care for at a time where she could barely care for herself. With ingenuity and courage, Rosie rose from the ashes, only to again find herself back at square one. 3 husbands, 3 divorces, 3 children, and innumerable moments of abuse, infidelity, broken promises, and sleepless nights. Rosie's life has been anything but easy, and her story is one you'll never forget. After her, she weighed over 400 pounds at one point, and she lost over 240 pounds. And that weight loss journey made headlines around the world. She became a model, a life coach, and co-host of the daily talk show Face the Truth. Rosie Mercado was launched into stardom. In this new memoir, she talks about her life in an unfiltered sort of way. And she has become one of the top 25 most powerful Latinas, according to People magazine. And she reveals her remarkable, impossible journey she took to finally realize her dreams. And just really quick on this book, I'm certainly not the target audience for this book. And yet I read it and it felt like you were sitting with one of your best friends and she is telling you her life story. It's written, she never feels sorry for herself. She just tells you exactly what her life was all about. And she is absolutely phenomenal. She is one of the top 6 Latinas you should know by, according to Univision and Latina magazine. And she has been a guest host, a correspondent on all kinds of Spanish language networks, including Telemundo and Univision. She's been on the Dr. Phil show and The Doctors, and she has been featured in Cosmopolitan, People magazine, Tiempo, Daily Mail in the UK, and the New York Post. And that is the last new title that I have that is coming out this fall. And I just wanted to give you a quick sneak peek at some of the titles that we have coming out, including from Dolores Reyes Come Tierra, a literary fiction from a wonderful author from Argentina. Muchachas Ordinarias, Ordinary Girls, which was published by Algonquin Books in English. And it's a story of a Puerto Rican girl growing up in a dysfunctional family in Puerto Rico. And she moves from Puerto Rico to Miami in search of a better life. This was an Oprah selection of one of the top books of the season. Has nacido para esto, la astrología para la acepción radical, by Chani Nicholas. This was in English. You Were Born for This, and it was a New York Times bestselling title. And finally, Elizabeth Wetmore's Valentine, which was a New York Times bestselling in English, and it's going to be published under the title Amor y Furia, a fantastic, amazing novel of a young Mexican-American girl in the border town of Odessa who is raped, and how that rape by a local boy, an Anglo local boy, becomes a sensation within that community and how that trial and how this crime affects different people, different women throughout this community. Absolutely fantastic. I highly, highly recommend it. And that is all that I have. So thank you very much. If you have any questions, just let me know. Thank you.
If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box. We do have a question from Nicole. Will some of these books be on BroadArt? They use BroadArt and Baker and Taylor for their books.
Absolutely. So all the major book distributors, BroadArt, Baker and Taylor, ReaderLink, will have all our titles available.
And I know there were some questions above that we didn't get to that I think were for Lectorum. Let me go back to them that I think are pretty important. So one of the questions was, are there any books that you would recommend regarding ICE? So I feel like this can go to any of the publishers in like 1 minute, but that was for Lectorum. We have a few minutes.
That that category in particular, we definitely have to research, since it's a very specific subject. But we will definitely look into that and get back to you. Get that category.
I mean, I highly recommend the title that I mentioned earlier, The Book of Rosie. I know that it's not a guidebook or anything like that, but it really shows you the conditions of that these families are under at the Texas and Arizona border. So the Book of Rosie, El Libro de Rosie, is a book that any reader that is interested in that subject would highly would enjoy very much.
From my selection, from the one that I show you, Manuelito, the publisher is Nick Press, a publishing house from Canada, and they have some books that are based on true stories, and I will be more than happy to share the list with you guys. You can send me an email to info@cincobooks.com at your earliest convenience.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to all the presenters from Lectorum, Cinco Books, and HarperCollins, Español. Oh, sorry. This was the second event of the Reforma Virtual Spanish Language Book Bus Summer Series, featuring 16 distributors and publishers. We have 4 more sessions scheduled. Visit reforma.org/bookbus to register to attend future events.
Reforma is an affiliate of the American Library Association. We're bringing this program series to you all free of charge. If you would like to support Reforma, please consider becoming a member, volunteering, or donating. And you can do that at reforma.org/get-involved. Next Tuesday, August 18th, Chao Luna Books, Penguin Random House Grupo Editorial, Lorito Books, and Ediciones Castillo will also join and present their new children and young adult titles. Los esperamos. Thank you all for joining. Muchas gracias.
Thank you.